Anthony, I'm getting the feeling that every single time I try to get away from Margaritaville, all roads lead back to one of their properties, it seems.
Love Margaritaville. Did you miss me?
So much.
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the #1 show in hospitality. Hey, everybody. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. Of course, I'm Glenn Hausman. Anthony Melchiori right over there. Anthony, to follow up on what you just said, yes, I did miss you. I was lost. I was listless. I was confused. I didn't know what to do. I wandered around my house all day, not knowing up from down, right from wrong, left from right. It was really sad.
Now I'm here.
Yes.
How was yesterday?
Well, it was great, but I was really uncomfortable having to talk the entire time. Usually I just sit and go, and then don't actually get to say anything. So this is a nice change of pace.
Oh, so you were a big boy yesterday.
I was. My mommy was so proud.
And now we have two real hotel guys on today. So you're not gonna have one word in.
We're doing the reason why I said all roads lead back to Margaritaville is because our guests today from Davidson Hospitality Group operate that particular property behind me. We'll get into them in just 1 second. But before we get into that, I did want to bring up the good folks over at Ecotech again, Anthony, right? Look at this. I'm using it. I got all my recycling in here. You can see that I just got some new gear over here, some new microphones and all of that kind of stuff. What a great product. I know that you like them too. So great. Now that events are coming back, what a perfect thing to put in your event facilities, right?
Hey, I didn't see, since I paid for half of that equipment, I didn't see the purchase order come through for my approval.
You know why I didn't charge you? I didn't charge you for the wireless mics because I'm not yet sure if how we're gonna use it for us. Right?
I'm teasing.
So the Jewish guilt was pouring over me at the thought of having to hit you up for $100. You know?
So, how are you, my friend?
Good, but let me just say, listen, Ecotech. They are on Amazon.com right now. They've been accepted into that, but don't go to that.
That's great.
No, go to ecotech-techwaste.com. Get 10% off. Tell them No Vacancy Live sent you there. We love those guys. You will too. All right, Anthony.
Sorry. And I tell you, I use them all the time. So they're so convenient. Matter of fact, my daughter, every time I go in her room, I clean out her garbage can, or I take her garbage out. And she said, "Dad, why every time you come in here?" I said, "Because every time you come in here, I see that it's full." I was like, "Why are you filling this up?" And she goes, "Because it's so big, it's so easy to just throw stuff in." So like apparently she throws stuff away when the container is bigger. Anyway, so
let's do it.
Hotels, baby.
All right, John, Belden, Thom Geshay, Davidson Hospitality Group, where these guys rock and roll. Let me take off this banner over here so we could open up. Gentlemen, so great to see you. And let me just start off by saying I've got the Margaritaville Hollywood Resort behind me. You folks manage that particular property. You're operating it over there. It's amazing what this company has done. We had Tamara Baldanza-Decker on just a couple of weeks ago. We had another company on before that operates one of their properties. How exciting. I've got lots to say about a lot of things, but first, before you even say a word, I'm sorry I haven't been down there yet. I apologize profusely. I've been trying to.
Unacceptable, Glenn. Unacceptable.
I know. I don't know what to say. I mean, I know there was a pandemic, and I haven't left my house in a year, but I'm going to get there. All right.
Pandemic, that's just an excuse.
We'll make sure we keep the doors open for you, Glenn. So, and Anthony, you need to come on down as well. We'd love to have you both.
We're live show. Let's do some live content from down.
You know what? Let's go. You know what? I know. I think my kids are getting off a couple of days soon, so maybe I'll just impromptu come down. I would love to. What happened? Excuse me. What happened a couple of years ago? I spoke at one of your conventions or conferences. Yes. You guys were a little company that everybody was talking about. Now all of a sudden you're a big company everybody's talking about.
Well, we're just glad people are talking about us. So yeah, we've we haven't let a good pandemic go to waste. We've been pretty busy over the last 14 months, and in particular this year. I got to give Thom a tremendous amount of credit because he has been leading a lot of these efforts with some great folks. Pete Sams, our COO, Patricia Davis, our head of marketing, Kathy Hood and Vanessa Claspill on the sales side. But we've launched our resort division in January. We launched our branding architecture in February, and then we launched our global sales platform in March. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Tom's going to do in April. But we've been not only busy doing those things, but we've got a couple of properties under construction that will open here in the next couple of months. And we took on a new Hyatt in Northern Virginia earlier this year, and then we've got another 7 to 9 hotels that are coming in May and June. So we've been pretty busy.
So just so everybody knows, Davidson is one of the leading management companies here in the United States. Thom, could you give us a quick rundown, a little maybe idea about the company, so our audience that may not be familiar with you, remember we've got a lot of young folks out there as well listening, they could learn a little bit from you.
Sure, absolutely. Happy to do it. Thanks, Glenn. We've been around a long time. Anthony, you're right. We were a small regional management company years ago, and now we've become more of a national company. We have a portfolio today of 61 hotels that's open, about 17,000 rooms. We got another, as John said, 6 or 7 in the pipeline that we'll get in the first half of this year, which is great. We've always focused primarily on the full service, upper upscale, kind of the 3.5 to near luxury sort of brand. Our portfolio is made of the more sophisticated and complicated assets, which we'll get into in a minute here with the reason for the launch of the resort division. We've got about 1.5 million square feet of meeting space across our portfolio around the country. We're in markets north to south, east to west. I think we're in 34 different states. And we've got 130 plus restaurants in our portfolio.
Wow.
Preferred operator for all the brands that you mentioned, and and some brands that a lot of people aren't preferred for right now on the independent side. So we're the only approved operator for Thompson Hotels outside of the brand itself. The only operator of Nobu outside of the brand itself. And we were one of the first licensees of Kimpton when it went into it. So garnered a lot of credibility in the independent space. We have a very strong culture that we spend a lot of time. We talk about our culture every week. We do a presentation, stand up. We still go through the core values. You guys talk about a lot. Anthony, you talk about it on a lot of your shows and where you go, but those little things that make the difference, something we like to focus on. So we're not the biggest. We don't have 400, 500, 1,000 hotels in our portfolio. We got a really pure quality portfolio of full service assets.
Yeah. And the little things are the big things. And John, I know you want to say something. Then I want to follow up with what Thom said.
Yeah, I was just going to say we're not, as Thom said, we're not the biggest, but we if you remove COVID from the scene, our portfolio revenues are about $1.7 billion, which would put us in the top 5 largest in the industry.
Wow.
And certainly from the purity standpoint, more than likely we'd be the largest. And then with the Margaritaville picture behind you, Glenn, I think the last time you and I were on No Vacancy, we had 1. Today we've got 4 open with another 2 under development out in San Diego. So we're and another 2 that we're looking at hopefully for over the next couple of months to bring into the portfolio.
Now I know you have great ownership that you guys work with, but I don't care what you say. You're not going to admit it, but working with Margaritaville is your favorite. I know it is. I said it for you. They're the most fun. They're the easiest to work with. They get stuff done, but they put a smile on your face.
We have awesome partners, and Marriott, Hilton, and Hyatt are the three that we normally deal with on the hard branded side, and they are amazing partners. We've been together with them for decades. But the one thing about Margaritaville is, in the lifestyle space, everybody they try so hard to tell their story, to come up with something, with a design, with a name, a backdrop. Margaritaville is in my estimation the most authentic lifestyle brand out there because it is effortless. Their story just exudes itself. You don't have to read anything. You don't have to do any background checks on the name. You just know it. And when Tamara was on your program, she said the minute you walk through the doors, your shoulders just drop in complete relaxation, and that's really what Island Escapism is all about with Margaritaville. So it's certainly a fun brand.
Thom, is there any truth to the rumor that they pay you in cases of Land Shark beer?
Well, There's no truth to the rumor that they pay the company in that. However, I've been known to be bribed with a case or two of loan shark.
One of the things, listen, we all know that this is the most competitive industry, probably one of the most competitive in the world. And we know between brands and other management companies, you've always got to kind of do something a little bit different. And so I was really glad to see that you guys are one of the founding members of Curator out of, oh my God.
Pebblebrook.
Thank you.
Pebblebrook.
Oh my God.
Yeah. There's 7 of us.
Yeah, speaking of that, Alex,
I was thinking of Curator, and I Curator in my mind's getting bigger than Pebblebrook. But Curator, and it's such an important part. I'm using Curator, and I will use Curator. It is such an important part of our business. So why are you partnering with them, and why is that important for bringing value to your operator, to your owners?
Well, Curator is a buying collective that is really allowing people to take advantage of scale, leveraging the purchasing power of a collective of properties that are much larger than your own portfolio. So we've got a fairly large platform by revenues, and so we've got certain skills that are built into our platform that give us great cost procurement benefits from a cost standpoint. What Pebblebrook has done through Curator is it's put 7 founding members together as the initial foundation, which obviously expands us well beyond any of our prospective platforms. And then from there, we hope that we're able to grow that initial 100 to 125 hotels to something that would be 200, 300, 400 hotels over time, with the procurement benefits getting more and more interesting as the platform.
And as an independent, owner operator, it's really important to look at someone that or got the big boys that they're working for and with, and that you got real professionals. Because I think Pebblebrook's second to none. They have real professionals, really, and you guys doing really the hard lifting. And so when you know that you have a contract that they've got into, I don't have to do 3 bids and have to worry about that I'm getting screwed over by a high priced vendor.
Well,
Right.
you said it earlier, Anthony. I mean, it's because every penny matters. And we really learned that this past year, right? I mean, when the waves go back, you kind of see everything that's on the ocean floor. You see those, every expense item comes to bear.
right.
In an independent property, sometimes small independent properties. We've got some that are 50 rooms, 70 rooms. In these hotels, I mean, every half a point matters. It makes a big difference. So when you could take someone like Curator and add it to all the other things you're doing, at the end of the year, those nickels and dimes add up, and that's where your margin comes from. We've always been proud of the margins we've been able to deliver, and Curator will help us do that.
And that's a really good point, because one of the things I say is the hotel business is a revenue generating business, not an expense driven business. And a lot of expenses take care of themselves, like housekeeping, front desk, things like that. But when I love that, I've never heard that. When the waves were removed, you see the bottom of the ocean. I love that analogy, because the last year it is really, really true. And it's been really almost a good exercise. It's like going back to accounting 101. We're all worried about the bottom line. We always concentrate on the bottom line. But if you're 97%, are you really going to bid out your, technology this year when, maybe the difference is 1% when you're so busy running your 97% hotel? But when you really get down to it, it's a really good exercise to ensure that we're always looking at the bottom line. And Curator, I think, does that. And I was fascinated by it.
They do. They're focused on, as you've already said, Anthony, that the independent hotels in all of our portfolios, whether it's a large platform like ours, or I saw Alex log in Cabanas before with Benchmark, it's something large like Benchmark, but also it's for the single asset owner and someone who has 3 or 4 or 5 hotels that just doesn't have the scale that we do or the resources that we do. But it's because they focus on the higher end of the independent space. It's not about buying cheap; it's about buying high quality at a lower cost. So again, that leverage is so important, because it still allows us to maintain the quality in our food and beverage experiences and the linens that we want to put into our hotels and so on and so forth at the lowest cost possible, so that we don't have to go to a lower quality linen or food and beverage to save money.
And what's interesting is that this was in the works way before the pandemic was even on the horizon. So having that collective at this particular time must have added a little bit of comfort to you guys during this particular time. So let me ask you this, Thom. How are you feeling today on March 18th, 2021 versus March 18th, 2020?
Wow. I'm not sure I can go back to that. I was actually,
You've blocked it out, but I've got to call into
I can say it a hell of a lot better.
I was on a business trip actually that week, and I was in San Francisco, and with our COO, and we were visiting some properties and meeting some teams, and we heard that they might be shutting the airport down, and we redirected our trip to come back home. You know, it was interesting. Then it was all about uncertainty. What does this mean? Where are we going to be? You didn't know what to think, and that visibility going forward was so. You just had no idea. Now, truthfully, in March, we thought maybe it was going to be a 60-day thing. We didn't realize we'd be talking about this still a year later. But to tell you the truth, I feel a whole lot better today than I did. Now we're focused on offense. We're focused on looking forward. We're not as worried much about it. We understand a lot more of what's there. And, talking about the expense control piece, the positives come out of everything. And in our business, we're very resilient. I think hoteliers are very resilient. We took a body shot, a body blow worse than any of us have seen. I've been at Davidson I'll celebrate 32 years or 33 years this in a couple of months. We've seen a bunch of disruptions to the economy, the 9/11s and the Great Recessions. We've never seen anything like this. But the positive piece that comes from it is the fact that I believe our operators, I believe the people on the property level, and they've been the true heroes through this whole thing. They know their assets better than they ever did. They know every penny. They know cash flow forecast. They understand the bit. They've renegotiated contracts personally, which before the corporate team handled or someone did. They've had to work with vendors. They had to really roll up their sleeves and get in. So the positive comes out of this is I think we've become probably better operators on some of the basics, which positions us really well for the growth when
you said we've all taken body shots in our career, and that's true. But you ever take a kidney shot? This was a kidney shot.
This was everything. This is everything.
Well, I'll add a little context to that. We January and February of last year were the two most successful months in the 47-year history of our company. And we all know what happened after that. So, going from the height of performance to the depth of performance. But as Thom said, having to shut down your entire portfolio and then reopen it and help all of your owners survive this, which we've done. And now going from defense to offense, as Thom said before, our operations team, led by Pete Sams, has done an extraordinary job of carrying everybody, helping to support and carry everybody through this crisis.
And that was the moment when you realized the Marriotts, the Davidsons of the world, the Ahoas of the world, they're the grown-ups in the room. They, like you said, have taken body shots. They haven't taken a kidney shot, but they know what to do when they do take one, right? Don't move. Like just it'll pass. Just don't move. And then when you have to move. And one of the things that I was being relentless, as we all are, one of the things our organizations have done that I thought done well was we had no choice not to move, but we accepted not moving. We accepted these are the decisions we have to make. These are the things we have to do. But if we communicate, we get on our Zooms, we let our people know, we'll be back better. I've said it before. When Arnie gave his speech, right in the very beginning when he looked very ill, I cried.
Yeah.
I cried. And I know a lot of people that cried because it was acceptance. He accepted it. We accepted it. And now we're going to stay still until we can move forward. But until that moment, I don't think, at least me, I didn't accept it. But he allowed me to accept what was going to happen and just stay still and focus on the future and don't lose hope.
Well, and it's and even adding to that, Anthony, it's we didn't panic. We couldn't panic. Our responsibilities were too great. So we actually just when whether it was the brands or the or other management companies in the industry, people were laying off 40 to 70% of their team members. We actually maintained all of our corporate team members because we knew we had to subordinate our P&L to everyone else's P&L, because at the time when our owners needed us most, how could we not be there in full force? So we took more than a kidney shot to our P&L last year in the hopes of just being there for everybody along the way. And honestly, we got a lot of work done during that period of time. We wouldn't have been able to launch our resort division. We wouldn't have been prepared to redo our brand architecture, to launch our GSO.
Yep.
Again, our teams really hunkered down last year and did some incredible things.
I do want to
talk.
talk.
I saw a great quote on someone's Instagram the other day.
I can't see it. There you go, Tom.
There you go.
Worry is wasted energy. Preparation is energy well spent.
Yep.
Whose Instagram was that on?
A guy named Glenn Houseman.
Yeah. Not at all. I'm the only quotes I say is, "Hey, where's a good place to eat some dinner?"
That's great though. You can't worry about it. You got to move forward, right?
I know, Tom. Speaking of that, the other thing that you were able to do is retain that team, keep them intact. So now when you're able to act, you're not working behind the 8 ball. You've managed to keep those people there. You don't have to hire new folks. They already know the culture. They already know the company. They know everything. So yeah, you took those hits, but it probably was worth the risk because of now where you're at, right?
Yeah, that's the benefit of not panicking, as John said. We have a lot of longevity, a lot of tenure in our company. As I said, I'm 32 years. John's 31 years. We've got a lot of long-term people, so we've seen it before. But I don't fault anybody that when the pandemic hit, cut staff. I mean, because liquidity was king, right? Now we're fortunate. We've got great financial backing. One of our partners is KSL Capital.
That's great.
And we've got great financial backing. They understand the business. They know the long game, and they agreed with our decision. Listen, at the property level, we had to cut so many people, and that was a real heartbreaking part of it. A lot of great associates that we had to put on furlough. But then a lot of the large brands, they also had to do it. They're public companies. They had to cut a lot of their overhead. So the owner needed us most at that moment. If we would have decimated our staff, if we would have cut a lot of our people and our resources, who was going to do the work? Because they weren't at the property. They weren't at the brand. They weren't. We had to sink in and do it. So we did everything we could to be mindful of our own balance sheet. But at the same time, we knew this moment would come where we would be on the offensive side. So we took that hit, playing long ball, and it's showing in our growth. We had a tremendous growth year from an asset side in 2020, despite revenues being very depressed. But we think it will be rewarded in the future, and we think our owners appreciated it that we kept the whole team together, and we thought it was the right decision, and it'll either pay off or I'll be fired shortly, one or the other.
But that was part of. But that was, I'm sorry, Anthony, but that was part of the plan, though. It wasn't just the humanitarian or cultural element of keeping everybody together. That was certainly a benefit, but the strategy was keep everybody together, as we said, to support our owners, but also because we've been a safe haven in every other financial crisis or demand shock in our history. And so we knew we were going to grow. As Tom said, we not only grew well, actually in the 47-year history of our company, last year was the year we grew the most in the middle of the pandemic. Now, it's great that we got a lot of hotels coming in, but they were void of revenue. So it's a victory that will pay off over the next couple of years, but a victory nonetheless.
Yeah, but that's interesting because you were in a position that you had the infrastructure that you can absorb that
exactly
temporarily,
right.
And that's one of the reasons they came into the fold, because people saw that. And but I want to go back. There's two things. One, when you did what you did and keeping your team together, the loyalty that comes with that. That when they were struggling with their families, and we've all had people in our families or around us or friends that either passed away or got very ill or had it, I'm sure out of 4 of us, a couple of us have had it. So the loyalty that goes into doing something like that, so they don't have to, they're worried about everything else around them, but they know they have a paycheck coming in. That's critical. So having all those people together, give me one example, this is for either one of you, where one of the owners really needed you, and you don't have to mention the name or the hotel, where your team went in and basically, really, I'll be over dramatic here, saved the hotel, where if you guys weren't in play, that hotel specifically would have been in a lot of danger. And again, you don't have to name the hotel, but is it an example that comes to mind that someone who was really, really, in a bad way? And I know everybody was, but
feel free to type the name to the private chat box so we can.
Well, but Anthony, to your point, everybody. I don't mean to be glib when I say that,
Right.
But as Thom said earlier, because of the demand shock out in the field, there was no demand. So invariably, we had to furlough an awful lot of people, unfortunately. And what that did was that decimated the property teams. Well, the hotels still need security. They still need the asset stewardship that comes along with it. Some of the properties, we suspended operations. We didn't close any hotels. So there was still some demand trickling in. So there's still, but yet the properties had 4, 5, 6 people at the hotels. Then we had to build budgets, COVID budgets, to relaunch the hotels. We had to build relaunch plans for all of our owners because we were going to be we didn't know this at the time, but we were going to be reopening the entire portfolio, beginning and for all intensive purposes, the month of June. And so that all required time and effort. There was nobody to do that work at the properties. So had we not kept everybody on, our properties wouldn't have gotten launched at the time that they did, which was getting, kind of oil back in the engine, if you will. And we certainly wouldn't have been able to take care of our assets as well as they could, because there's a lot of work to, this, Anthony, there's a lot of work to do in a hotel that's closed. Just keeping the water systems working and all the HVAC systems and so on and so forth.
Yeah, John, I remember I have a friend that runs one of the MGM properties, and he's just actually got a really big promotion. And it was kind of maybe 2 or 3 months. And, I always call my friends and see how they're doing. Like, and I go out to Vegas as much as I can. I love Vegas. And so I call him up and they go, "Hey man, how's it going?" And he sounded out of breath. And this is a guy that, he's been an executive for a good 15 years, right? And I said, "What are you doing?" He sounded out of breath. He goes, "Hey, man, you come over and help me try to turn on the water of 1,800 rooms."
Exactly right.
It's
you
true.
gotta run all the faucets.
It's true.
Faucets in an 1,800 room hotel.
Well, that's unbelievable. But so after we took the kidney shot and we sort of sucked it up, our team started doing calls every single day. 8 a.m. we're on the phone every day, and we put together for every one of our assets, because every hotel is a little bit different. The large ones, the small ones, the team, who you have there. We put together sort of these crisis management and relaunch plans, individualized for each hotel. Ultimately, each of these plans end up being over 100 pages for every hotel, no matter the size of it. But going through the entire guest journey, what it meant, how we'd run the hotel from the moment they pulled up to the time they got to the room and they checked out, and our team member journey when they got there, what it looked like when they came in the back door. In every single department, we wrote, we've got over 100 new SOPs today that we didn't have a year ago, because we had to come up with so many different things. So our operating teams hunkered down in a bunker, and a lot of that weight was on the shoulder of the corporate team, because there weren't people at the properties. They were running around turning on water faucets and checking people in and keeping the hotel secure. So we created all these plans individualized. And then about 30 days post, when there was all that uncertainty and our owners were wondering what's going on, what does it look like, we delivered the plan, said, here's how we're going to handle your hotel today. Here's how we're going to reopen it. Here's how we're going to thoughtfully bring back staff. Here's what we're going to do to marketing. Here's what we're going to do to F&B. Here's our plan for each outlet. We had these very customized plans for each of our owners. We handed them that book, that Bible. Here's what's going to happen over the next period of time, to allow their shoulders to drop a little bit, say, okay, these guys got it. They're on top of it. Now, that became a working document, because we didn't know what we didn't know, but we used the best information we had, and then we worked through it as it went along. And so we continued to adjust as we needed to, as we started to open hotels back up. So,
and of course,
I was just going to say real quick, John, is we thought we were in the hotel business, right? And then we went through this year, and we're in our first year of our new journey in the hotel business. We weren't in the hotel business. Now we're in the hotel business.
Now we're in the hotel business.
Well, and I was just going to say, Anthony, we hadn't even talked about safety and cleanliness protocols and all of that. I mean, we were doing that across KSLs. We were meeting as 28 CEOs at any given time, talking about best practices across all of their portfolios. Marriott was doing, all the brands were doing the yeoman's benefit to that, and our teams were participating in that. And of course, H&LA with led by Chip, just doing stay safe. So
we praise him every day.
What's that?
We praise his efforts every single day on this.
Yeah, well, we all do it. We all should. And I'm going to shamelessly say this: if you haven't done so, please contribute to Hotel Pack. Yep. It is the most important thing that we can possibly do in our industry.
And we had on Rob Palesci yesterday, CEO of G6, and talking about hotels.
Rob's a good friend.
So go there.
Rob's a good man. Yeah.
Really awesome guy.
He's funny as hell. I love that guy.
Yeah,
he is. If you can't laugh with him, you can certainly laugh at him. So
which is really strange. All right, guys. Now, I feel like we could just talk about this for all in all, but you have been up to so many things. You have been changing names, launching new divisions, all sorts of crazy stuff. Let's get some of that out. You first of all, you created the global sales office. What, less than 2 weeks ago, for example? You also created the resort division. Let's talk a little bit about how you're reframing, you're restructuring, you're reinventing as we get ready for this, what we expect are going to be another roaring 20s. Thom?
Sure. I'll jump in. And you said it. We told your producer this, Glenn, but 4 of us on this, an hour is not sufficient. People are going to have to block the rest of their afternoon for the 4 of us to chat.
That's right.
But so it's important to know we have done a lot of things, but none of it really has anything to do with the pandemic, like we've been talking about. These are plans that we put into place. I think we kind of delivered our sort of 5-year strategic plan back in 2018 or 19, and all this was part of it. I told you earlier that our focus has always been on the more complicated assets, the full service properties, a little bit larger, heavy orientation toward food and beverage. And we, as a differentiator, we've tried to have a very pure portfolio of full service, upper upscale to near luxury assets. When you do that, there's a lot of different skills that are necessary.
Right.
And operating in one way doesn't work across a whole portfolio of small 50-room independent, cool, boutique properties, or large convention center attached type properties, or destination resort. There's a different set of skills that goes into that. So the idea of creating different operating verticals, one that manages kind of our heritage hotels, which is the large branded, full service properties, and then one which is Davidson Hotels, and one like Pivot Hotels that operates in the luxury space. We launched Pivot in
an appropriate name for right now.
I'm sorry, not
exactly.
We have Pivot trademarked, or every time one of you guys use it, we get a little kickback from that.
All right. Well, that's a shame. We'll have to change our thing. I don't know if we could afford the royalty fee.
It'd be the only revenue we have right now, so it'd be appreciated. No. We got we launched Pivots, our lifestyle and luxury space, in January of 2016.
Yeah.
We now have 30 assets between what's open and what's in the pipeline there. So one of the fastest growing lifestyle spaces. So this evolution to the resort division that we just launched, not only was it planned, but it was kind of the evolution of where we were going. We have resorts in our portfolio. We've got a great portfolio, actually 11 assets we launched in the division when we launched it, which are hotels that we've been operating for years. But what we've learned is it takes a specific set of skills to do these type of assets that get more complicated. You have to be really great in food and beverage. DRG, our restaurant, Davidson Restaurant Group. I mean, we have 10 professionals on that team that are awesome. They're the best in the business at what they do, from concepting, branding, culinary, cost maintenance. They get the business and they're really good at it. You have to know club business. You have to know retail. You have to know spa. I mean, our resort division, which with the portfolio we have in place, call it, I don't know, was it, John, 350 to 400 million of total revenues? It's about 50% rooms. All the rest is all the ancillary revenues that come from that. So having experts in place that really understand the business, spent their life in that space, and really know it so they can focus on it and maximize it. That's the idea behind creating these operating divisions. So we were Davidson Hotels and Resorts. I think we did that name in the late 2000s is when that name came about. It was Davidson Hotel Company. But as we relaunched the company and we started to look at the different divisions, we're really we're a group of great companies. And when you're when you're an owner that has that has an independent property, you want someone to focus on it. You want to feel like you're working with your own group. And although we're only 61 hotels, we're not as big number of properties wise as some other folks. They still want that individualized service that matters. And I'm not just one of 60 or one of 80 or one of 100, but you're one of 30 kind of focused on that space. And all these experts and professionals that know it, they're really in that space. So we changed the name to Davidson Hospitality Group, which also allows us to expand. As John mentioned, we had a great year for growth, 16 assets we added in 2020. But as you get in the resort space, there's also other businesses that we could even look at to get in there. There could be Davidson Catering, there could be Davidson Spas, there could be Davidson Golf. It becomes a scalable business once you put it all together, but all related to hospitality and in the hospitality, travel, and leisure space.
This is interesting to me because a lot of companies, and tell me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a pure hotel professional, they do a lot of like regional type of things, grouping different types of assets that all happen to be in the same area. And then you have a situation where somebody has to have skill sets in all different areas and they have to be a generalist instead of a specialist, right?
Yeah, that's right. Go ahead,
John.
John, you got it.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and that's exactly why we've tried to specialize by vertical as opposed to by region, because as Thom already said, the skill sets that it takes to run a hard branded hotel versus a lifestyle hotel versus a resort are really, really different. And that's why the natural evolution getting into resorts was so important to us, because one, it's got an incredibly high barrier to entry for operators. It's the skill and sophistication of running what's behind you, Glenn, with 369 rooms, 30,000 square feet of meeting space, a spa, retail outlets that generate about $2.5 million a year, 3 resort pools, a flow rider, the list goes, and then we have 8 F&B outlets. So it's all of which pre-COVID we're doing $35 million on F&B alone. So to run that is just complicated, and it takes a sophisticated operating company to do that. So the Grand Hotel in Mackinac Island, it's whispered in the same breath as the Cloisters or the Broadmoor, and it's got 11 F&B outlets. Golf, it's you can only get to the island by ferry or by plane. Or boat by plane, and once you get there, you can only walk or ride a bike or use horse-drawn carriages. So no motor cars are allowed. So that's an incredibly that may be one of the most complex hotels in the country to run, just based on some of those variables. So we felt like that was just a great way for us to enter a space that was very fragmented. There's a lot of independent operators, which is a great opportunity for us. And of course, the brands have a pretty strong toehold in that market as well, which is terrific. That's been great for them. But we'd like to join that party as well. So in effect, instead of creating our opportunities and being all things to all people vertically, we've said, okay, 4 to 5 star. We're gonna create our opportunities horizontally, and so we're now in every place where our clients want to be, along that quality spectrum.
And I love the way you're going about your business, because when you're in a room, we've been doing this a long time, so everybody thinks you know all the answers. When you're in all these different verticals, all these different complicated buildings and hotels, how many times have you been in a meeting, right? And everybody thinks you know all the answers, and you're sitting there going, what the hell are they talking about? I don't know what that means. And I write it down, and I'm like, even now on my Zooms and stuff, I'm like, I've never heard that acronym before. Let me look that up. What does that mean? And I didn't know that worked that way. That works like that? Like, isn't that fascinating in our business that we're still learning?
Anthony, that's such a great point. And something that we've done is it's important to know what you don't know and be honest about it. And so, John and I can't take credit for, we've got a lot of great assets and our operating performance is phenomenal, but it's our team that really does that. And so what we looked at, we've been around Davidson 30 years. We know how Davidson does it. Right. We don't necessarily know how everyone else does it. And maybe what are those best practices? So we've specifically gone out and found people like in the lifestyle space. They spent their career, the Jeff Toscanos and Caroline Dials and Patricia Davis.
Toscano worked for you?
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Oh, wait, before we leave, I got to tell you Jeff story, but keep going. And then
only if it's clean, Anthony, only if it's clean.
Listen, you just said something that everyone needs to know. You literally got the best guy in the industry. I'm going to tell this quick story. I'm going to interrupt because it's not.
Go for it.
I told this story to Glenn before. Jeff was young. He came to New York City. I'm at the Lucerne Hotel. I'm the general manager. I'm looking for an assistant general manager. This, central casting model guy walks in with the hair.
Still got the hair.
And he's about to sit down, and I go, dude, don't sit down. And he goes, why? I said, because your hair's too nice for me to hire you. Right? So
that's the same thing I said to him.
So we start joking around, right? I fall in love with the guy instantly, like, I'm going to hire this guy. And I'm about to leave. And I right after I interviewed him, I knew I was leaving because I got recruited to go run the Algonquin. Right. And I didn't want, like, if he was there already, like a week, I would have said, hey, just make this guy the general manager. But I was afraid that he was going to get caught, like in something where I couldn't protect him. So I didn't offer him the job. Years later, he used to work for that small boutique company in New York City.
We've heard of them, maybe, yeah.
Yeah. I can't remember.
We're not allowed to say their name.
We're not allowed to say it. I know, but I can't say it.
Right. So anyway, I go in. There's the general manager job of, I'll say the name of the hotel, and everybody will know, the Benjamin. Yeah. And it was a hotel. Before pre-opening, I fell in love with the hotel. I don't go to jobs because I want a job. I go because I want the building. Right? It's like I want to go on a date with this building. And so truly, it's always been my inspiration, even now what I'm working on. So I go in for the interview with the general manager, and the vice president of operations. There he is.
There he is.
Here's Dave.
Get a picture when he was good looking. He's getting ugly when he gets older.
Oh. You got the hair though.
I love you, Jeff. But you can take that off. I don't want to stare at that guy anymore. That hair is killing me.
Intimidating.
But anyway, so I walk in, and the vice president of operations is going to interview me. So I sit down. I don't recognize him, and he said, "You and I we know each other." I go, "We do?" He goes, "Yeah, you interviewed me years ago." I go, "I did? Was I nice to you?" And he goes, and I go, "I hope I was nice to you." And he goes, "You weren't." I was like, "Wasn't nice to you?" He goes, "No, you made fun of my hair." And I immediately knew who he was. So always be nice to people, because the guy who I was going to give an assistant general manager job to became the vice president, and literally, I think one of the finest people in our industry, and just one of the nicest people, and just really thoughtful, and really understands the business, and really, really, really drills down, and just one of the best people in the industry. I did not know he worked for you.
One thing, so I'll use that as a segue. So one of the benefits of having the culture is by far the most important thing in the world to us, and it's been a part of our strategy for 47 years. But Thom talked about, you talked about, us being a little company to now a big company.
Yeah.
We've done, Glenn mentioned all the things that we've done. So there's been a very purposeful strategy to the journey we've been on. I hate to use the word journey because we overuse that, but to now kind of where we're at. Yeah. And what that's done is the quality of our portfolio, the strategy itself, the quality of our clients. It is attracted an extraordinary amount of talent to our company. People like Jeff, Steve Contos, who runs our new resort division. I mean, hands down, one of the best resort operators in the industry. Yeah. And people like Pete Sams, who is our chief operating officer. I mentioned Pete already. He's just an exceptional leader, and he joined us 3 months before the pandemic. So, we haven't seen Pete really hit the gas here yet in an environment that's post-COVID. So we're looking forward to that. But we've attracted a lot of talent. That's a good thing for us.
He's the guy I go to every time somebody says who's the best guy in the industry. His name comes up on my top 3 all the time.
All right. So we're not doing a show about Jeff today.
Why not?
All right, Glenn, go for it.
You're killing me for his next evaluation, Anthony. You know that, right? He's gonna pull this back. It's gonna be hard for me now.
Listen, I'll simply say this: you're not paying him enough. Give him a promotion.
Come on, you're killing me.
You're
all right, Glenn. This is where you need to take over here because we're going down the wrong hole.
No, this is just too much of a love fest going on.
I'm looking for the mute button here.
First of all, everybody, I know you're asking some great questions out there in the audience. We'll try to get to those in a second, but we have to talk real quick about the global sales office.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. I want to know about that because I'm sorry, Glenn. That is fascinating to me because that's kind of you're basically things are going to change, right? So how's it changing? And then I have some follow-up questions, but I'll let Glenn get in there too. Sorry, Glenn.
No, pretty much you said it. Tell us a little bit about what your strategy is for creating the global sales office, which you announced.
Tommy, you want to go for it?
Yeah, sure. Happy to. So again, this is the benefit of bringing some people in from the outside. So we as we've grown, as our assets have come up, and really as we've gotten into the independent space in full force over the last 5 years, 6 years, you're responsible for going out and making it rain for yourself.
Yep.
The reason you pay franchise fees to a lot of great franchise groups, the Kimptons of the world and the Marriotts and the Hiltons, Hyatts. The reason you do this because they deliver business to you. They have a system, they have a machine, they have a contribution, they have a membership loyalty club. So you pay those fees, and that works great in certain markets. When you're in the independent space, you don't have that pipe that brings you those reservations. You have to go out and make your own rain. And that's something, I know in a lot of the shows you did, Anthony, you point that out. How are we going to fill this place? Where are we going to go for business? How are we going to get there? You don't have the pipe. So as we grew out Pivot, a lot of the folks, a lot of our the professionals in our Pivot organization said, hey, we have to find a different way to get out there and get business for our things. We're generating all the leads. We're generating 100% of what we're doing for these assets, and we need a way to sort of differentiate that.
Right.
So we started the conversation, and we started it a couple of years ago. We tried to be very thoughtful about it. When should we do this? How should we do it? And everything else. Well, group bookings and corporate travel and all that sort of went bye last year, as we know. But now, as we coming out of it, we're starting to see things get a little bit better. Our salespeople have been a little bit more active. We're starting to add back salespeople to our properties that didn't happen before. We're moving things around and starting to see a light, and we know that's going to come back. So we launched our global sales office. We created a team of folks that are going to be deployed against a certain avenue that they're going to go after, and they're going to start making the calls and building that relationship, so they can build a network of clients in the meeting space, in the business space, in the corporate space, and then we provide that value back to our owners. So when you have an independent property, it's with Pivot. That there's someone out there selling for your hotel on a global basis that's going to the big shows, that's interacting, that's talking to the meeting planners and event planners in all your feeder markets. But the real benefit of this is it helps all our hotels. So when we have these sellers out there, showing our portfolio and selling on behalf of all 61 of our assets, the branded hotels get a benefit from that. The resorts get a benefit from that, the independent properties. So we see a huge value in this, and it's something that we plan to even grow and add to as the year continues.
But let me ask you a question. We're going to throw some pictures up because I want people to see how beautiful your hotels are and how big and complex these hotels are. Where's that?
That's Alta. That's just outside Salt Lake City in Alta, Utah. That's the Snow Pine Lodge. I was there 2 weeks ago. It is stunning. It was it was imagined by our owners. It's a private family that owns that asset, and it's a passion project that they did, and they have hit every touch just right. And gorgeous asset, wonderful asset, sits right on the slopes.
Well, I asked for your guys' cell numbers in the private chat. Please give them to me so I can hook you up so I can stay there. I'll just call Jeff, but Jeff won't give you the same deal you will. But my question for you is, we see these beautiful hotels, and you just said, this is a passion project. So they have the money. They want to do this. It's gorgeous. They're hitting all the touches. Their friends and family are staying there. Everybody in the local newspapers are writing about them. So my salesperson is not on property. Why? Okay. Now I know you've all had that question, so I'm going to make it a little tough. This is called a tough minute with Anthony.
Oh boy.
Prove to me.
I need a graphic
that have said that. like how does that work? Explain that to me.
So there are salespeople on property. There's salespeople on every hotel that we have, including revenue managers.
Okay, that's great.
So all of that is on property. This is one additional layer of demand that we're trying to create organically by using these professionals that have national relationships, and so they're generating sales that is over and above what the property teams create.
That's great. Do you guys know the name Rose Genovese?
I do not.
I don't know.
All I'll say is find her. I can give you.
I will now send you my cell number.
Yeah, exactly.
I will. Hopefully, she's listening. I will say. I will. She actually, when I did my show, 5-Star Secrets, she actually worked on the portfolio hotels that Jeff used to work in, and she was the global salesperson for One and Only, global salesperson for Langham. And she actually gave me my first 5-Star Secret hotel for my show that we did for her in Chicago and then in Cabo. And she knows where all the dead bodies are buried.
So we got some great questions. Number one, are you hiring right now? Because some people are asking about that.
Yes, we are.
You could steer them to the right direction. That'd be great. And secondly, we got a really great question. How are you preparing right now for what I think we all could agree is going to be a major onslaught of people coming to your hotels over the next 6 months?
But talk about the hiring piece first, because a lot of people, I just had a conversation with somebody. He's a good friend of the family. He's 18 years old. He's thinking about going to the hotel business. I got him a job as a bellman, and he's starting to fall in love with it. And someone said in his family, well, the hotel business is going through a tough time, and that's going to be a tough career. And I literally raised my voice and said that is completely the opposite of reality.
It's Anthony, it's the best career out there. There are no barriers to entry. You can become incredibly wealthy without an education. You just need to be savvy and streetwise and have an ability to collaborate and lead people. There just are no impediments to what you can do and accomplish in our industry. We've got a talent group led by Laura Presnell who are they're probably the busiest group inside of our company, fielding inbound inquiries, trying to go out and hire the best talent in the industry, whether it's for the corporate team or more importantly out in the field. So there's two things. One is bringing, staffing back up the existing hotels, and then also feeding the need for all the new hotels that we brought in. So, at the end of the year, by the end of the year, if everything were back up to full speed, we'd probably be 10,000 people between full-time and part-time and on-call team members. So.
And right now, because of LinkedIn, Tom, I'll give you a second in a second. Because of LinkedIn, you're on our show. What I tell people all the time is you're on our show. If somebody DMs you on LinkedIn and says, hey, I saw you guys on LinkedIn, could you get my resume to the right people? You would do that, right?
I do it all the time. Absolutely. Right. I can't tell you how many inbound, just cold call emails I get. And to John's point, we have a whole recruiting group and development and training group. I make sure they get the resume in their hands right away. They do the vetting it's hard to get good people. It's really hard to get good people. So we talk to everybody, and the business isn't for everybody. Listen, it's what we do is hard work. But to John's point, it's open for everybody. Anthony, you started as a dishwasher. I was a bellman. My first job at Davidson, I was a bellman. So you can really go any direction you want to go if you're willing to put the effort in.
To me, it's like a sports team, right? The hotel business. It's if the talent wins, or going to Broadway, the talent wins. So it doesn't matter where you went to school. It doesn't matter who you know. Like I can get somebody maybe a job because I got them in the door and they did a good job in the interview. But everybody forgets my name the second everybody goes to work. And
you got to produce, right? You got to produce.
You have to produce. And by the way, if you do that and you do send your resume to these guys, an extra bonus is just use the code word Jeff has nice hair. and they'll know you paid attention, and they'll really make sure your resume gets in the right hands.
And Anthony, by the way, you'll be happy to know that our talent team, Vicky Maldonado, already has Rose's resume. So we're in good shape.
Listen, Rose is like us, man. You're in the. I'm going to give you my personal reference if I was talking to you on the phone. When you're in the room with Rose, you're in the room with Rose, and she's got questions, and she knows everyone, and she knows. You know what I like about Rose when I talk to her, because I'm using her as a consultant, and one of the things I like about Rose is she literally. I was in the parking lot about a couple of weeks ago asking her some questions. She was 3 steps ahead of me. I don't mean this to be like, like arrogant, but very few people are 3 steps ahead of me. She was 3 steps ahead of me.
I love
Vicky,
people
I
like
think
that.
Vicky's
That's
listening.
great.
So Vicky, I'm gonna make sure that you please give Rose a call right away before Anthony makes her salary go higher. So
I'm getting a little nervous for you guys right now.
You're killing us, Ed.
that's right, Glenn.
You need to make some numbers in 2021, but obviously you're hiring because you do expect that business is going to come back.
We
How
do.
do you make sure we've got another question in here from Saikiran Chandupatala. He was referring to how do you make sure the standards and stuff are kept up on a daily basis? How do you combine that with bringing people back, making sure that the entire hotel is running smoothly and guests are going to get the experience that they expect to have right now?
Well, we've got great SOPs across the board, particularly as it relates to the things that we've learned through COVID. First and foremost, we need to make sure that our team members are safe. So making sure that we're following those procedures is so important for the team. And then, of course, next come the guests. They want to stay in a place where they can feel confident that it's clean, it's safe, it's going to be functional for their trip purpose, and gosh, hopefully a place where they'll have a lot of fun. Like again, the place behind you, Glenn. So it's really critical. It's like a performance at a theater, right? I mean, you get instant feedback if you're doing well, and you get instant feedback if you're not. So the ability to, we hope we've got our lines down. We hope we hit our marks. Using the theater analogy, but most importantly, it's ensuring that we take care of our guests at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's the number 2. AHLA just did a big survey. The number 2 after price important component today, which is very different than 18 months ago, is cleanliness and sanitation. It's moved up ahead of location. It's moved up ahead of amenities. All that thing. It's now that piece. So that's going to be around for a while.
And in some ways, it's really ahead of price, because if you get your price point at $99 and all of a sudden the cleanliness is not right, you're willing to go to $120 if you see 3 or 4 of those hotels aren't getting good reviews and they're not clean. You're willing to go a little higher. You're not, I think in today's day and age, you're not settling on dirty rooms for a couple dollars. And I don't care what your because I know a lot of rich people, I know a lot of people that don't have a lot of money, and nobody is going to sacrifice on cleanliness. Right. It is, and the only thing that to me that's changed is we should always been cleaning our rooms. I hear this every day on the show. It's like, cleaning standards will stay, at the same levels. Well, they should have been these levels before. Yeah. That's how I clean my hotel.
That's right. That's right.
And so the only thing that to me has changed is people want to see you cleaning as opposed to before they didn't want to see you cleaning.
We used to hide all that, Anthony. We did our cleaning in off hours or off busy times, and we would do it in the middle of the night. And now right in the middle of the day, multiple cleaning times, and the guests are just fine with seeing somebody, wiping down buttons and railings. They want to see it.
I saw a guest at the Aria, an employee cleaning the escalator, and they handle the escalator, and that person didn't move. All they did was clean the escalator handle, and it was kind of in the middle of COVID, and I appreciated it. And every single time, and this is another thing I want everybody to do, and I know us hotel people do. If you see somebody cleaning, even if you're not walking right in front of them, your eye contact's not in front of them, like take the 2 steps and just make believe you're walking in front of them, say good morning and walk away. You will see, I just did it yesterday. You will see people, because they're hidden. People don't say hello to them. People don't really recognize them. Go out of your way, especially now that you're going to see more and more maintenance and cleaning people. Go out of your way just to say good morning or afternoon. It makes a difference.
100% right. 100% right, Anthony.
We've I know we're coming up on our time, but we've had a ton of fun today. We've got 4 people who are incredibly passionate about our business, and we're closer to the end than the beginning. At least we certainly hope so. But let's not forget that there are a lot of owners who are still hurting. We've got years to go in terms of full recovery. A lot of team members that are still, unemployed at the moment and unable to take care of their families the way they'd want. So let's be sure we keep all that in mind as we go forward. That we've still got some serious work to do. we can have fun along the way for sure, but there's a lot of work that our industry has yet to do, but we're again hopefully closer to the end than the beginning.
The good news, bad news is hopefully there will not be another pandemic in our lifetime or in anybody's lifetime. But if there is, we understand what we need to do. We understand that hopefully there'll be a vaccine even quicker. But we have a game plan, whereas we have game plans for hurricanes or tornadoes, and we've all been in those situations. Unfortunately, people come to hotels to end their life. So we've been through all those tragedies. And this is another one. And
This was new.
This was new. Hey, but you know what? Good. It was good time to be an old guy because we had a lot of experience.
Right.
Yet simultaneously no experience at the same time.
Exactly, Glenn.
So before we wrap up, and the good news about being on the internet is we don't have to get off the air at a specific time. Maybe each of you could tell us something that you've learned about yourself personally and professionally during this past year. John?
So I think personal and professional are almost the same here. Our industry does not work well outside of 6 feet. Our industry works really well inside of 6 feet.
Right.
And I think that COVID has robbed us of the intimacy that we share with our guests and our team members, the close-in collaboration, I'm a walking HR nightmare because I'm a hugger and I love shaking hands. And I just the celebration that comes along with being in the same space, and watching the joy of people who are having fun at the pool, or in a crowded bar, or whatever the case may be. That's been taken away from us, and I'm sitting in the middle of our office that normally has 80 people in it, and today might have 8 or 9. So we're missing those opportunities for us to be together and to celebrate our culture and to celebrate our industry. And so that's probably the thing that I miss the most, but that I'm the most excited to get back.
Right. Of course, when John is talking about 6 feet, he means that we work better when we can get closer to our guests more spiritually, if not necessarily physically, right, Thom? How about you?
Yeah, it's been gosh, we've learned so much, and there's things that we will be better for because of it, and things that have been difficult and treacherous through it all. Yep. I will tell you this: one of the things that I've learned, and this ties together personal and professional, who you surround yourself with in life and in business is so important. The acts, Anthony, you were talking about your friend out in Vegas. Every single day at every one of our hotels, we have someone doing something, and especially over this past year, that maybe they haven't done for 30 years, 20 years. They've had to do things. They've had to jump in, and man, what a resilient group of people the hospitality people are. And we have, we talk about our core values a lot. And as John mentioned earlier, culture is very important to us. And we're probably one of the few, if not maybe the only companies that has love in their core values. We hire people big time on character, on integrity, on things like that. The things that matter. We can teach a lot of skills, but some of those things you can't really teach. I am so proud of the team that Davidson has across the country, not just in our corporate office here, but out at every one of our properties. What I've seen and witnessed and heard and stories, it's unbelievable. But you learn who, who's on the team and who isn't. You learn who's all in and who's not. And frankly, even on other partnerships, the brands and our owners, we've got phenomenal group of owners that we work with, and none of us knew what to do with this. We locked arms. We said, hey, we'll figure it out. Some tough conversations, but you learn. These are the people you want to work with. These are the people you want to partner with. And so who you surround yourself with is so important. And it just makes a difference. And you learn that more than ever when you go through tragedy like this.
Thom, in watching you throughout the interview, I realized you got a little bit of my OCD qualities, and also Now I see you have
A little.
Well, I'm noticing that him. But listen, if me and him were diagnosed in high school, we've been in trouble. I think we got all the same conditions. But the one thing he has that I noticed, and if you were really listening to his words, his emotion. You choked up when you were talking about the team, and you got a little teary-eyed. I got teary-eyed listening to you. And people don't understand. There's two types of people, and you said it. And I think you said it beautifully. We're in a crisis. We were in a crisis. We're continuing to be in a crisis. And there's two types of people. Look at all the work I'm doing, and I wonder what my reward's going to be. And then you have to hit them on the shoulder and go, okay, we're done. Well, you can go back to your office. And you're like, what? What? No. What? I have to go where? No, I'm good. I'll get there eventually. Those are that's the person you hire. Those are the person that is the Rose. And those are the people I'm talking about, where it's like, we do it because we love to do it. And you said something, John, that I say a lot. And I think people are sick and tired of me saying it. It's the best career in the world. And there's no barrier to entry. And effort is everything. You have to be quick, but you have to care on a different level. And I've said this before in the show too. My daughter once said to me, I said, "What? You have tendencies that I think would work really well in the hotel business. I think you're really great. I think you're very sympathetic, but you're also kind of bossy. So I think you'd be perfect." And she goes, "But Dad, there's no money in the hotel business." As she's swimming in our pool and driving our brand new car. It's get very wealthy in this business.
Yeah, you can, and it's hard to be egotistical in our business. You can be bombastic, you can have a lot of fun, you can do a lot of things, but at the core of everything, we're really supposed to be subordinating ourselves to our guests.
Right.
And serving them,
right.
and that's hard to do with an ego, and that's why Thom mentioned the word love. We, people get weirded out a lot by the use of the word love, particularly in a corporate environment. But we love what we do. We love each other because we work long hours and we work hard. We take our work very seriously, but we don't take ourselves seriously. And so in that regard, it's we have a ball. But despite what we've been through, we've still found ways to have fun along the way.
Excellent, gentlemen. How about a good shameless plug for Davidson and Hospitality Group? Everything.
Or for Rose or Jeff. What each other one you want to do?
I think we plugged them enough.
Well, Jeff's not going to be able to get his head through his office after this.
Yeah, that's right.
The CEO just texted me and said, "Oh man, it's going to be bigger."
Where are you guys located?
Atlanta.
He's in Atlanta. Yeah.
So Jeff lives in Atlanta now?
Yeah, I can see his building right through my window.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So you're gonna come visit us now, Anthony? Is that
100%?
So my shameless plug, Glenn, is going to be that. So I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on air, but tonight we're being awarded as one of Atlanta's top workplaces, and again, I got to give a little speech that will be part of the event, and I'd like to think that Davidson is not only one of Atlanta's top places to work, but also the industry's best place to work. We'd love to have all the great talent in the industry send us resumes. Rose, thanks for sending yours, and so we welcome all the talent we possibly can get. So that's my shameless plug.
Thom, you get one too.
I get one. Well, listen. Get out and travel. Now that the vaccines are getting out there,
amen.
Airlines and airports, and I've been out traveling. I just flew in yesterday from a trip to the Northeast. It feels safe. It's getting better. We've got 113 million people now vaccinated in the U.S. Hotels are safe places to be. Airlines are doing a really good job with their protocols.
Yep.
Everyone has taken this seriously, and be careful, mask, do all the things you have to do, but it is okay to book a hotel room. We'd love it if it was part of Davidson Hospitality's portfolio, but for industry's sake, just get out and go see a client face to face, have a meeting, do something to generate business. Our industry needs to come back. We took the kidney punch, and it's only going to come back if we can get everybody back on board. So please get out and travel and stay in a hotel.
And let me throw one more shameless plug out there, and it's really for you, Glenn, and you, Anthony. All during this, you guys have done such an amazing job with No Vacancy, having terrific people on like John Bortz and Chip, and
sadly that ended today.
What's but you're shining a spotlight on some great topics, on some great companies, some great people. You're having fun with it, and we can't thank both of you enough.
Yeah, we appreciate the time.
Thank you. And I'll close this by saying, who doesn't need plugs? Jeff.
What up?
Even he's getting it. Even he's getting it.
I do.
Very close, man. I'm getting very close.
I wouldn't take care if somebody gave it to me. But thank you for saying that. And as we grow, one of the things we were concerned about, all these, I mean, look who we have on today. I mean, we have all these top players in the industry. As we get back to work and we're all getting busy, I'm missing a little bit more shows than I typically want to miss, like yesterday, and I'm going to have to miss another one in a week or two. As we all get busy, don't forget about us, because we are not stopping. No matter how busy we get, no matter where we are, we're not stopping the show. This show is going to continue as long as Glenn and I have breath. Yep. We're going to be doing this show. So this isn't a COVID show. This is, you guys have proven the reason this show is successful is because you all came on here. You all talked about the important. You all showed your vulnerability. You see Thom, a great executive, people intimidated by his title and his position. He's crying about his employees. This is what people need to see. You're talking about, there are jobs. There's a young lady or a young man today, or an old man or old lady today that saw that you guys are hiring, and they have hope again. They have hope that, okay, let me send them my resume. And they're going to say, Jeff has nice hair, and they're going to get a job. And that's no more Jeff, but that's what this show is about, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. I'm never going to stop doing this show. It's probably one of the favorite things I've ever done in my career. And thank you, Glenn.
It's the best show in the industry, and again, thanks to you both for everything you do.
Hey,
we appreciate the opportunity to be on. Thanks for inviting us.
Seriously, this was such a great conversation. I know we didn't get through everything. Let's plan to do something on location from one of your properties and really show it off.
That would be fun. That would be a lot of fun. Let's plan to do that.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll see you at the Hunter Hotel Investment Conference in person. All right.
In person.
Guys, later. Wow, that was great. One of those times that we could just go on and on and on and on. How much fun.
You're so kind to embrace me and allow me to be me.
Yeah, man, this is great. All right, now I want to say a couple more things, but first, make sure you check out Bright Support. Don't miss this rare opportunity to reduce your property taxes. They're there to help you. Call them right now at 833-411-2233 and check them out at brightsupport.net/hotels. Anthony.
Yeah, and Davidson, Ecotech and Bright Support. Don't forget them.
Yes, please support them and thank them for supporting us. I appreciate it. I have to do something important here that Dave is not aware of. I want to bring Dave on for a second. All right, Anthony?
Oh, yeah, today. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, Dave, I want to say
I could have gotten a warning.
We have some good news and we have some bad news. The good news is, Dave
hold on. We can't hear anything.
The good news is I muted him.
Thank you.
The good news is Dave has gotten himself a full-time job. The bad news is he's not going to be able to be here every single day with us. Good news is he's still going to be working with us behind the scenes, but I did want to take a moment to thank him for all the incredible work he's done and helping keep Anthony and I straight, which is very, very difficult.
Right. And the good news is there's an opportunity for anybody who's listening. But Dave will be booking all of our guests and still be very important behind the scenes. And David, when we first started, you were a guy trying to prove himself. I was, we were trying to get something done. And as everybody knows, I have little patience and little tolerance for people that don't pay attention. You pay attention, and you made our show better. You made us better, and you care. You send texts and emails to us about stuff that we should be sending you texts and emails about. And you make us better. You make us work harder. And I appreciate that. And you're going to be very successful. You're going back into the hotel business full time to a great job, to a great brand in a great city. And, I will break your chops for the rest of your life.
Well, I hope so. I mean, that's what's going to keep me on the straight and narrow, right? I mean, I really can't tell you guys how much I appreciate you allowing me to even be a part of this. I've had so much fun doing it. I've met so many great people, but I've gotten to know both of you a lot more personally through this. And
yet you still show up every day.
And I still show up every day. And it's been great to really be challenged and really to continue to show see how this show has developed. And at the very least, my wife was telling me the other day, she was like, "What would you do if you didn't have this show for the last year?" And I was like, "I don't know, honestly."
Ditto, my friend, ditto.
So I can't thank you guys enough. I mean, just so many great experiences of meeting so many great people, having so many great times on our trips and things like that. So thank you.
And it's an example of what I talked about before. Is like, I always say, when you're working with me and working on our team, whatever team it is, I don't care how hard you work. I really don't. I have zero. I don't care, because I know by you doing that, I am going to take care of you if I can going forward, whether it be money wise, whether it be reference wise, whether it be this guy like Jeff, Jeff, right? Jeff works really, really hard. I said that with an open heart, that I think Jeff and Rose are great people. And I'll say that with you. And so to me, the way you get ahead in any industry is put your head down, do the work, because nobody cares, right? They'll care when it's time for them to care. Now, that doesn't mean we don't treat you with respect. That doesn't mean we don't love you. That doesn't mean we never, we did all the right things. We treat you like part of the family. But at the end of the day, if you ever called me up and say, Anthony, I worked 19 hours last night, I don't care, because at the end of the day, you're building your career for your family, and you're building it so you can make more money, because there is a lot of money in this industry to be made. And people got to understand that. You got to be respected, but you got to work hard. And you did that. And thank you, Glenn, for doing that. I would have been remiss if we didn't do that.
And I would say, if you want Dave to work with us full time, advertise on us. Drop me a line at glenn@vacancynews.com so we can afford to pay him what he's getting, going back to his love in the hospitality industry. Dave, thanks again for absolutely everything. We couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you guys so much. And yes, as Anthony said, I will still be here behind the scenes. So just looking forward to keep doing this and having some great times.
All right, everybody, let's wrap the show up. Dave, you want to say a final word before Anthony and I wrap up?
Everybody, just make sure that you have a great time. Enjoy the show. So, as Anthony said, stay tuned, even if we live start to get back together, because there's so much knowledge, so much expertise you're going to hear from here, and you're going to learn a lot. I know I'm going to be continuing to watch, so keep learning myself. So
you're going to criticize us too, but this is
you're going to get texts all the time. Don't worry.
This is a bachelor's degree. If you listen to the last year of this show, and not because of us, take us out of it, and just listen to the people that were on our show, you got a bachelor's degree in this industry.
Agree. And everybody else, thank you out there for watching and really making this possible for all of us. It's really meant a lot to all of us. So thank you.
Thank you, Dave.
And it'll be weird not having to hear your son in the background at every
single show.
We'll try to get used to that.
You know what, Dave? I have enough of his whining, so I'm good.
Thank you so much. Thanks, producer Dave. And remember, be like Dave. You've got one life, so blaze on and
be kind to yourself.